All right, here we go. We are live. I'm meteorologist Ben Peine here. We are in the Extol Media Studios in New Albany, Indiana, here at the corner of Market and Vincennes in uptown New Albany on a cloudy, humid start to the day. And the main heads up for today is going to be a chance of severe storms for this evening, especially after 6 p.m. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. We are in level 3 out of 5. So an enhanced risk of severe storms for this evening. Then we're going to look ahead to our first heat wave of summertime. Of course, our first summer weekend is this weekend. So we have plenty to talk about here for you on our Ben at 10 today. Thanks for joining us here on my Facebook page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, P-E-I-N-E, Extol Weather on Facebook, or Extol Media on YouTube. So today, a good day to give your friends and family that heads up that we do have that chance of some severe weather for this evening. So just making sure we're all good here on the Facebook as we check the audio and video as we get started. Feel free to drop in the comments if you have any questions. We are going to be looking at the hour-by-hour outlook for the threat of those strong to severe storms. Unfortunately, all the severe weather threats are on the table for this evening. A low chance of a tornado, but we might get a couple warnings we'll have to watch out for. Damaging straight line winds from bow echoes. And then we could see frequent cloud to ground lightning, the potential of some heavy rain, maybe some isolated flash flooding in some spots. We've seen that in a few areas over the last couple of days, especially in Kentucky. And then the threat of maybe some hail in some of the supercells. And then that threat looks like it'll diminish after sunset. So I would say around 6:10 p.m. is kind of the main severe weather show for us for this evening. So that is a lot of what we're going to be talking about here for today. Right now, things are pretty quiet as we look across the area. There were a couple little showers off to the south. Can't rule out a passing shower a little bit later this morning. You see a little bit of green trying to pop up here just off to the north of Salem with the latest scan there. But as we expand out, more of those showers are heading towards Dayton, Ohio. And as we expand even farther out, area of low pressure moving through Missouri. So active weather ongoing out to our west. So a lot of today is actually going to be dry and super muggy. One of the muggiest days we've had. Dew points well into the 70s, tropical air in place. And we'll likely break out into some sunshine later this afternoon and head to the mid and upper 80s. So that is going to be the fuel source for these strong storms. Unlike all week long where we've had almost no wind out there, we're adding a little more wind energy to the ingredients. So that is going to lead us to the potential of some severe weather later on this evening. Either way, I'll keep you up to date on what's happening throughout the rest of today. And then again, if you're a pool lover, a lake lover, summer lover, you're going to love the forecast this weekend into next week. 90s galore, heat index values 100 plus. Our first real deal heat wave heading our direction. We've got a good morning here from Mike Sievert. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks, Dennis Gregory for letting us know the AV is just fine. Tuning in from Bedford, Indiana. Thanks for watching from up there in Bedford. We got Borden represented from Beverly Haggist. And we're going to look at the timing here, again, mainly after 6 p.m. And we'll map it out with the weather models as well here in just a couple moments. As always, before we get started, and it's typically around 10:20, if you're familiar with the program, is when we usually set up the weather models and get into it. We look at the forecast, of course, before that as well. So do want to give a shout out to extolmag.com/weather. We've got you hooked up here. We've got your interactive radar, the 7-day forecast that I posted this morning. I also went deep diving with the weather story. If you want to click on that, that's going to take you to a severe weather threat for southern Indiana. So there you can see the maps. If you want to spend some more time looking at some of the weather maps, reading, maybe that's your format, looking at articles online. You can see I've posted a bunch of maps, a big weather blog, weather story here, not only looking at our severe weather threat today, but also looking at that heat wave on the way. So there's a lot of information, a lot of tools and resources for you for southern Indiana and beyond there at extolmag.com/weather. So not only the weather story, but The maps are updated automatically here. You can click on the day 1 severe weather risk, and this will take you to the Storm Prediction Center's convective outlook risk. So this is day 1 severe weather risk. That orange is an enhanced risk over our area, all of Indiana, under level 3 out of 5 of the severe weather risk categories. If there are any watches or warnings posted, we've got you linked up there as well. And as you scroll down, there is a look at that interactive radar where it's just showing some steamy conditions across the area. Rather humid, we all know that. Can you feel a difference inside? That's my question. We all are pumping the air conditioning, but is it taking the humidity out? Our house is lower humidity inside, definitely than outside. But I can still notice that, compared to normal humidity, feeling it even inside a little bit. Changed the HVAC filters, our system filters yesterday. So hopefully that might help a little bit. They were not looking good. We have 3 dogs that are shedding. So the filters, just remember to change those. So that is a look at the interactive radar right now. Showers and thunderstorms off to the northwest. And again, these tools, free and easy to use. You can be your own meteorologist there at extolmag.com/weather. Also, we were live on location yesterday at the Sellersburg Ivy Tech campus. Had a good time out there talking with the chancellor and executive directors. And so thanks for having us out there. There are 42 programs, summer session now. August 25th is when the fall sessions start. So you can register there. Also, Lions Roofing. So hopefully these storms don't make them too busy, as there is some hail potential and some damaging wind potential. If you have any issues with your roof after our storms tonight, you can always call 812-294-3595. Get free estimates online, lionsroofingco.com. And if you want an opportunity, a friend or family member that needs a job, needs a work, needs a new career, look at all these job postings here at libspaving.com. That is L-I-B as in Ben, S, paving.com. Plenty of available employment opportunities right there at your fingertips. And I want to thank our partners as well at NWSB, people you know wherever you go, banking the way you want. Go to newwashbank.com and learn a lot more there. So again, we are talking about the potential of that severe weather threat for this evening. I'm going to be looking over your comments. If you have any questions, even suggestions on what you want to look at, I'm always looking at those comments. Don't be shy. Pop in there. So we've got Jeff Burkhead. Always great getting the weather updates from you. Thanks for tuning in there, Jeff. And a good morning from Jill. A good morning here from Orlean. Had some rain. We already had some rain there. I mean, incredibly soggy conditions. I was getting the mower out because I've got a bum tire, a flat tire, which I need to take in today to get some tubes in it. But I mean, it's just a sponge, a wet sponge on the ground. So actually, I'm kind of looking forward to the driest weather pattern we've probably had this year, so far this year, this weekend into next week. But it does come with a heat wave as well. So do you have any way of knowing if the expected storms will have hail in them? There is a chance of hail. Some of the initial supercells could grow large enough to pack some hail. Once we get the first impactful line through and we get towards sunset, then the remaining showers and thunderstorms should not have hail. Typically in a very tropical environment like we have today, there'll be a lot of melting of that hail. So I would say that's kind of a limited, smaller threat as far as the hazards that we have, but there is that potential of some hail, that some of those like bigger supercells, the ones that may have a tornado warning, those typically can grow big enough to have hail that makes it all the way to looks like I broke up for a second. All right, now we're back on. I love technology sometimes. Peggy Sipes, good morning. And we've got a good morning from Sarah Humphreys there in Mount Washington. And good morning from Karen Taylor. No more rain, please. I know you guys got hit with some heavy rain a couple days ago. So unfortunately, it looks like a nearly 100% chance of some heavy rain across Kentucky and Indiana for this evening. So we are definitely going to be looking at those weather maps here in just one moment. I want to bring this up here. And just a quick reminder before we really start to dig into that weather model data, you can always partner up with us anytime you would like. If you want to bring out that Southern Indiana megaphone for your business, your organization, hey, just send me a little email there. Ben@extolmag.com, Jason@extolmag.com. If you have some friends or family members that you know that might be running their own business, might want a little help with that, we are still averaging over 2 million views per month over the last 90 days just on my Facebook page. Doesn't include Extol Media, Extol Weather, our YouTube, Threads, Blue Sky. We're everywhere. So feel free to partner up with us. We'd love to have you on board. Now, I just want to show you this again because I thought this was super cool. I did post it on Facebook yesterday. I talked a little bit about it yesterday. This is just something you don't see very often. And I have seen a power plant produce a cloud in the wintertime that actually produced snow. This was a picture I took from southern Harrison County looking towards the Mill Creek power plant, southwestern Jefferson County at Cosmosdale. This is cumulus homogenitus, not easy to say. Clouds produced by human-induced processes. So the stacks creating a thermal, it gets up to the lifted condensation level where the cloud can begin to grow. That's that bottom layer, that cloud base. And then it takes off with that buoyant, warm, moist air from there. So just a cool sight that you don't get to see too often. You actually see the steam coming up and then producing that cloud right there. Quick bird nerd update. Let's start off with a little peaceful start before we get into the big, bad, severe weather threat for this evening. This morning on the Merlin app, they were busy out there. We had the tufted titmouse, the American robin, the Carolina wren, the summer tanager, the wood thrush, the downy woodpecker, the red-eyed vireo, the red-bellied woodpecker, the Carolina chickadee, the indigo bunting, the eastern wood pewee, and the mourning dove, all having a good time this morning. Maybe they know something's up with the weather, and they're all out there getting their food, getting stocked up before that chance of severe storms. Now, we have a lot of clouds around, but the EPA says a UV index of 9 today. So my daughter's generation loves to check out the UV index. They love the sun rays, although they should be protecting themselves from the sun rays. But it says a 9. So that means perhaps we'll break out in some sunshine before that threat of storms later on today. Getting a few more comments popping up here. We've got Corey Anderson. Good morning, Mr. Pine or Piney. Marcia Fox, good morning from the Foxes, raining now in Highview. So yeah, we'll take a look at the radar. We've got a chance of a few of these passing showers popping up this morning, but again, our focus on this evening. Mary, you're very welcome. Vicki Berger, good morning. Gloomy here in Salem. Just a more moisture-rich atmosphere that we have across the area. And the ceiling people, here's my mom. Hi there. The ceiling people found a big tree limb in the attic from the March storm and pulled it out. That is crazy. So yeah, she got a hole in the roof, had half of a roof replaced, and found a tree limb inside the attic. Let's hope there's no more trees falling down in my mom's yard. She's had a hell of a time this spring season with the storms in my mom's backyard there. Checking in a little late. Judy, not too late. We're just getting into the forecast and getting into the weather model data as well. So we're going to head back to that full screen here for you. So today's play ball forecast, maybe you're lucky enough to get out on the golf course or something like that. You're going to be sweating it out like we have been. Highs in the mid to upper 80s. It's going to feel just super juicy and tropical out there. And nearly 100% chance of showers and thunderstorms as we get closer to sunset. That's our big heads up for today. Southwest winds at around 10 to 15, maybe gusts to 20. So a little bit of a breeze out there, which might help a touch. Here's that June 18th, today's forecast, 88, super muggy with that late day evening storm possible. Sunsets are now at 9:09. So these are becoming the latest sunsets of the year with, of course, summer beginning in just 2 days, Friday night, 10:42 p.m. And tonight's forecast, some scattered storms, a low 70 degrees, mostly cloudy and humid. Now, this is a front that's going to be moving through slowly tomorrow morning. With it, maybe a leftover shower or storm, kind of a slight chance for tomorrow. But I don't like to call them cold fronts this time of the year because this front is almost not going to change the air mass that's around the area. In fact, we're going to steam up like crazy with a heat wave on the way this weekend. But that front is going to, ahead of the front, we're going to spark up those storms this evening. It's going to take a while to get that front through tomorrow, which will keep us in a chance here. Here's tomorrow's forecast, June 19th, Juneteenth, 78 at noon, 84 for that afternoon high. So just maybe a touch cooler tomorrow with partly to mostly cloudy sky. Sunrise 619, sunset 909 with our longest days of the year. Our average high is 87. Our normal low is 68. So here is that 7-day forecast. We have for tomorrow, again, 84, maybe an isolated shower or storm, and then dry Friday, a high of 88. We're going to get a big ridge of high pressure. The jet stream is going to fly up into Canada. It's going to leave us with a lot of sunshine and building temperatures day by day. Humidity goes down just a touch, barely noticeable tomorrow and Friday, then starts to ramp back up into the weekend. 91 Saturday, 93 Sunday. Now, Sunday, I see the dew points heading back up into the 70s. So that means the heat index could climb to around 100 or above. So we're going to need to take care, make sure that AC is working properly. Again, those filters changed. This is a lot of times we're not used to that first heat wave. Yeah, it's been muggy, it's been humid, but we haven't had the combination of extreme heat as well. So 94 Monday, hottest day so far this year, mid-90s likely next Tuesday and Wednesday. And with that heat and that sunshine, we're going to be evaporating a lot of moisture out of the ground. So that's going to add to the moisture levels in those high dew points across the area. So Marcia Fox was mentioning a little chance of a shower passing through there. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that here in just 1 second as we bring back up the radar and satellite. I'll go ahead and bring on the full screen view of the live radar. So let me just switch between the weather products here and see if, sorry for that super zoom there. So let's do a quick tour of the radars. We might have just maybe a little sprinkle, a little light rainfall there. There's around Highview and Fern Creek, Beulah Church, Smyrna Road. So there might be a little bit coming out of the clouds. And then as we look here into southern Indiana and parts of Floyd County, around Greenville, you can see around Galena, a little bit of a sprinkle there. And one of the tiniest showers you'll find on radar between Fredericksburg, north of Palmyra, and between there and Pekin. So between Highway 150 and Highway 60, a little tiny, tiny, tiny shower. There's State Road 135. Let me see if I remember how. So there you go. There, I'm remembering how to do the labels. East Dutch Creek is where we have a little shower. So we can go right down to your neighborhood here. There's South Fleming Road, if you're familiar with that area. Buffalo Trace Road. So I mean, the technology is just crazy what you can do these days. So that not a whole lot out there, but maybe a passing sprinkle or shower here through the morning time. That's what we have out there now. So now we're going to bring up the weather model data. Hey, it's coming up to 10:20. We are right on time with when we typically start to dig into that weather model data. So we'll go and get out of the full screen view there, and we were going to bring up the future radar. Am I going to have to do live severe weather tracking from my mom's basement this evening? We're going to have to wait and see about that. All right, so we're going to bring up the HRRR, the High Resolution Rapid Refresh weather model. So this is at 11 a.m. and it's picking up on the weather just fine with that area of low pressure out over Missouri. We'll take this into the afternoon. And it's showing maybe a stray shower in that muggy air for us for this afternoon, but we'll have a lot of dry time overall in general. And again, feel free if you have any questions about the severe weather threat or the heat wave on the way, you can just plop them in the comments there and we'll get to them. All right, so as we look ahead here, let's go to 3 o'clock this afternoon. So this updates hourly. So this is the freshest high resolution weather model data that you can get. And we'll compare and contrast that the models haven't been perfect. I will always admit that. The HRRR and the NAM 3 kilometer, the two main high resolution weather models. We can look at the WRF weather model, the WRF as well. And again, we can compare and contrast all these. The timing might be just a little bit different, but in general, late afternoon at the earliest, but generally after around 6 p.m. is when it has been showing that threat of severe storms. So that's 3 p.m. There's 4 o'clock, and then here's 5 o'clock. So this is like about an hour earlier than I was seeing just about an hour ago. So that I'll go ahead and bring this up full screen. So this is some of the latest data showing those big storms bubbling up with that heat of the day right here at 4 to 5 o'clock. So this is at 5 o'clock, actually. I'm just going to have to watch out for some of those supercells there that could be packing a punch with damaging wind gusts. Our main threat. Can't rule out, though, an isolated spin-up tornado. What happens is, and I can draw this, so this is a depiction of the storms later on today. You get a bow echo here. So it looks like the bow, like archery, a bow. So you get these low-level jets that'll push out that rain in that bowing segment. So the apex right here of that bow is where a lot of times you'll get those damaging wind gusts in excess of 60, 70, maybe 80 miles per hour. But on the ends here, we call this a bookend vortice. And sometimes you can get like a little spin up EF0, EF1 tornado. So we're going to watch out for those bow echoes later on this evening, and maybe a few tornado warnings as well. So always busy, it seems, this year. It's just been a crazy year of active weather. Now this is around 6 p.m., 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock rock there. So as we head toward sunset, this model has us seeing that severe weather threat diminish off there pretty rapidly. So overall, we're seeing 5, 6 p.m. heads up here in southern Indiana, a little bit later for Kentucky. So maybe it's kind of like a 5 to 9, 6 to 10 time frame for that highest severe weather threat. And again, this is just one weather model that we're looking at so far. Again, they update every hour. So you're looking at the freshest data at the exact same time I am. Fresh eyes on the fresh data. All right, let's get back to it. All right, so that's at 8 o'clock. And you can see the storms linger longer in Kentucky than Indiana. And then that's around 10 o'clock, that severe weather threat leaving. So we got a question here. What is a shelf cloud? So shelf cloud, it's very noticeable, leading edge of a thunderstorm that'll move through. It's attached to the thunderstorm. So it looks like a kind of a layer and kind of a foot out in front of a supercell, a line of storms. A lot of times you'll get a gust front out ahead of the parent thunderstorm. And so it's that leading edge that kind of looks smooth sometimes, has some striations every once in a while. It'll look like very dark and purple maybe underneath, and then kind of smooth in the front. That's your shelf cloud. Now a roll cloud is not attached. It'll likely be rolling ahead of the severe thunderstorm. It is not attached to the storm. It's kind of rolling along the gust front out ahead, that cool air that rushes out ahead of the thunderstorm, and kind of looks like a roll, just a roll. So you got a roll cloud that's sometimes possible with severe storms or lines of severe storms. And then you got the shelf cloud that's on the leading edge of the supercell as well. And then you might have cumulus congestus, which is a scud cloud, or we call SLC cloud, scary looking cloud. Sometimes they're very low near a thunderstorm, and they can get so low they kind of look like a tornado, kind of a mock tornado. You get a wall cloud that's underneath the updraft of a severe thunderstorm. That wall cloud is where a lot of times a nearby tornado could form. So you're always kind of looking out for those lowerings, but typically if a storm's doing that stuff, it may have a warning anyway. And so you just want to be inside, not checking it out. And we've got hello from Laura DeVore. Thanks for watching. JK's, hello to you. Wyatt Wright, thanks for tuning in here this morning. And Lillian Lasley there from Grayson County. Thanks for watching here this morning. And my mom was just showing me a picture of the tree limb from her that was inside of her attic from the March storm that rolled through there. And I forget what day it was, but I was doing tracking live severe weather from her basement I don't know, a month ago, sometime in May, and then 3 trees fell in her backyard live. Had to cut all those up. So hopefully my mom's house will dodge the storms here in June. Crazy stuff. All right, let's get back to it. So that's the HER weather model. Let's go to the NAM 3-kilometer weather model, and we're going to need to back up the data to right now or near right now. It's been a little more ambitious with these morning showers. There's not much rain out there. So this is at 11 o'clock, but there might be a passing shower. And Sarah says, good morning, Ben. Will you be showing a different weather model? We are showing a different weather right now, as you commented. So this is the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. We'll take this into the afternoon as well. Again, maybe a passing shower moving off to the northeast. Majority of the afternoon dry. It has not been as organized with that severe weather threats during the late afternoon. And it's a little bit later as well. So this is around 7 to 8 o'clock. It has it moving in several hours later than the HER weather model. Both of them have been kind of consistent in their individual messaging. So this is around 8 to 9 o'clock. And then has the storms moving in and lasting later in the night. This is at 1 a.m. Now, myself, I kind of lean more towards the HER weather model right now, bringing it in before sunset or right around sunset. Either way, this evening heads up on that severe weather threat. So that is the NAM 3-kilometer weather model showing the active weather, the heavy rainfall, maybe some localized flash flooding, frequent cloud-to-ground lightning. Some areas might pick up a good inch of rainfall out of this as it moves through. And there you can see the rain continuing through the late night hours is at 4 a.m. We'll take this to tomorrow morning. And again, this is going to be a slow moving front, so we could keep a few showers around tomorrow morning. This here is at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Still, you can see a little bit of activity across the area. No severe weather for tomorrow. As we go into the afternoon, looking at still a chance for a spotty shower, maybe a rumble of thunder. So this is around 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow with, again, the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. So that's tomorrow afternoon. So we're not totally out of the woods as far as rain chances until Friday. Friday is when we start to see a better chance. Well, no, I wouldn't say a better chance, but dry weather pattern, a dry weather pattern on the way starting Friday through the weekend through much of next week. And that will transition to that part of the weather story here in just a second once we get through that severe weather threat for today. I do want to bring up one more weather model. This is the high resolution WRF weather model. This is starting off tomorrow. Let me back this up to now. You see all of them are a little bit different. They're starting off, some are a little bit wetter when they dry off. The mathematics are a little bit different on all of them. They ingest the data a little bit different. All of them, though, have showed a mainly dry afternoon through late afternoon. So this is through 2 p.m. So the WRF weather model, pretty similar to the HER weather model. So we've got two high-resolution weather models, the WRF, the HRRR, saying maybe initialization of the severe weather threat or the development of the severe weather threat late afternoon. So maybe around 5, 6 o'clock. So this is the WRF weather model at 5 p.m. Again, we're all looking at this fresh because the data is just coming in. So there you go. That's kind of one of the earlier ones, around 5 o'clock-ish for the beginning of it. And then this is heading towards sunset. So both of the weather models, the HER and the NAM 3-kilometer, showed the potential of storms by late afternoon, after 5 or 6 o'clock, and then diminishing after sunset. And as after sunset, that would make sense as we lose that daytime heating. The storms not expected to be as powerful, more disorganized after sunset, but still some scattered showers around along and ahead of the front that still has not moved through during the overnight hours and early tomorrow morning. So this is at 1 o'clock in the morning. Again, this is the WRF weather model. A lot of times we'll just look at the HER or the NAM 3-kilometer. We're adding in a third high-resolution weather model here. So this is going into tomorrow morning. It also shows a few showers around 7, 8 o'clock, as we still don't have that front moving through the area just yet. And then this is at 1 o'clock tomorrow, just like the NAM 3-kilometer, showing that chance some leftover spotty showers for our Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon. I've got it at about a 30 or 40% chance of a shower tomorrow. So we're looking ahead. If you're just popping on, yeah, the main focus here for today for our Ben at 10 show is the severe weather threat for this evening. But we've looked at that with 3 different weather models. Now we're kind of looking ahead to tomorrow, and then we're going to look ahead to the heat wave that we have on the way. Got a question popping in. Good morning. A little bit late. I'm here. Thanks for your update. Jump in the puddles and have fun. Always looking at the positivity and always loving the emojis there. Laura, which model do you consider the most accurate? Neither, because sometimes one does better than the other. You'll look at congruency. When they agree, you're like, okay, these two are really picking up a lot better on the situation than these. You look at the initialization. How are they picking up the current situation? If a model is picking up on the current situation better than another, for whatever reason, you can go back to chaos theory, the butterfly wings that make a little ripple in the atmosphere and then change the weather on a different side of the world. So these weather models are fascinating and their mathematics and how they pick up everything. So if one weather model is doing better at the beginning, high likelihood it'll do better later on. So the physics and all of that goes into the weather models is incredible. We've got 2 out of the 3 weather models that are the high resolution ones that only go out, maybe like 24 hours or so, that are saying late afternoon, early evening start time for that severe weather threat. The NAM 3 kilometers, the outlier that had it a lot later. So kind of throwing that one out now. Either way, we all just want to be extra weather aware, have that family plan ready to go, know where to go, what to do, have that first aid kit, maybe the pillows and blankets, just in case. Most of us are not going to get that tornado warning, but if it happens in your area, we always want you to be prepared and be as safe as possible. And then, so the difference here, your tornado warning could be radar indicated. We see the rotation on the radar, or it's confirmed. And that'll have a different color on the polygon or the warning shape when it pops up on the radar. Typically, it's like a purple if it's confirmed tornado and doing damage on the ground. Radar indicated, typically red. Severe thunderstorm warning. The definition here from the National Weather Service is above around 60 miles per hour wind gusts. That's when you start to get tree power line damage. So 60 mile per hour plus is when we get a severe thunderstorm warning. We see that with the velocity data. We're looking at the speed of the raindrops with those live radar scans. And then also you can get a severe thunderstorm warning if we are expecting hail 1 inch or greater. That can do damage, obviously, to roofs of cars and homes. So those are the 2 reasons, the criteria to get a severe thunderstorm warning above 60 mile per hour or 1 inch or greater hail. And then another warning that we might end up getting in a few areas is a flash flood warning. And that, of course, is because of too much rain over too little of time. Laura saying, I do not like the wind. Wind comes, I go to the basement. Hey, that's a good rule of thumb there for you. Let's now talk about the heat wave. And before I get into the heat wave, one last thing here, because we talked about the Storm Prediction Center. They are a division of the National Weather Service. Their one big job is to look across the country and see where severe weather might happen out of Norman, Oklahoma. So our area today is under a level 3 out of 5. That is the orange area there. It kind of looks like an avocado. All of Indiana, Metro Louisville, Western Kentucky under level 3 out of 5. That's called an enhanced risk of severe storms. And then east of I-65 and toward Lexington and Elizabethtown right now under a slight risk. That's level 2 out of 5. The reason being, you get farther east of I-65, you're getting a little bit later into the evening, say around sunset or later, we start to lose the heat of the day, so the storms might not be as strong. But as they hit earlier in the afternoon, just out west of us, all that orange area, you're feeding on some really warm and moist air across the area. So, and some stronger winds as well. That's another big ingredient for that out there. Let me go ahead and bring up the weather models one last time. Well, actually, we're going to look ahead, well ahead with the weather models here in just a second. But in the short term here for today, we can bring up the the CAPE, the convective available potential energy around the area. And there's going to be a lot of it. So there's a look at the CAPE. Let me see what weather model we're digging into here. Let's go to the high resolution rapid refresh weather model. All right, so this is a look at the CAPE. We're going to go into this afternoon, and it's screaming. Okay, so 3,000 joules per kilogram, basically about as high as it gets as far as storm fuel for this afternoon. You're going to feel it when you step outside. It's a wall of mugginess out there. So we've got plenty of energy for those storms as they head our way late this afternoon, evening. As always, I hope we do a storm dodge and we miss it. But if we've got the ingredients there, we've got to give you a heads up on that potential. Christopher Ramos checking in this morning. Good morning to you. All right, now we're going to go ahead and jump into, now if you're watching if you're just hopping in, we've covered the severe weather threat through this evening, looked at a lot of the ingredients, we talked about it. If you're watching the replay, now we're going to be digging into, you may want to start at around 10:20, maybe even 10:15. That's when or 15 minutes into the show to 20 minutes into the show, that's when we did the forecast and we looked through the weather model data. Now we're going to go long range and we're going to go into our first summer heat wave with the GFS, high resolution version of the GFS. And I'm going to back out our view. We're going to go out into outer space in one of the billionaire rockets. And we're going to go with, we've got the temperature there. I'm going to jump ahead to Sunday. Now Saturday's hot, around, low 90s likely. And Sunday is our June the 22nd. Isn't it crazy? We're already like just screaming through the month of June here. It's going by fast, and the year of 2025. So there's your heat wave. I'll go bring this up full screen. And huge, what they would say, anomalous ridge of high pressure. Jet stream way north up into Canada. So jet stream's flying way up here. And so this is just a heat dome. Sometimes like midsummer when it gets even worse, we call it a death ridge because it gets so hot. And a heat wave does cause more impacts than almost any other weather condition because of the heat stress, especially the elderly. So this is Sunday when it really kicks in. So this is high pressure, a lot of sunshine. And this can be very stagnant air as well. We'll likely probably get air quality alerts as there's going to be probably no wind. It is just baking on the pollutants, the particulates building up that ozone. DJ Zip from Lions Roofing. Hello, DJ. Hopefully you dodged the hail and the damaging winds. I know you guys are still busy there at Lions Roofing. And did you hear my mom? She popped in. They found a little bit of a limb, a stick, I would say, the size of the bed of a truck, I guess, inside of her attic. Went right through from the trees in March. And Laura says, yes, that is crazy. All right, so there's the huge ridge. So if you want cool air, you got to go Pacific Northwest. That's where that's going to be. All right, we're going to go forward in time. Again, right now we're covering the heat wave that begins this weekend into next week. So that's Sunday. Let's go ahead and jump to Tuesday, the 24th. Do we see much of a change? Not really. Maybe just a little bit cooler air to the north. And as we zoom back in here, we're coming down from the billionaire's rocket from outer space, heading back home here, and we can kind of plot out some of these numbers. And I think this might be kind of being nice as far as the heat index values. We might see some numbers getting up to 105. If we get those dew points up there in the low mid 70s, it'll be your 95 might feel like up around 105 next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So there you go. There's your heat index potential numbers here next Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll see how long that ridge of high pressure can last. So really, I mean, what do you do to prepare for a heat wave? Nothing really. You just get ready for it. Make sure your AC is raring to go, and then we just kind of chill in the AC or by the pool or the lake or whatever we got to do to stay cool out there. So there you go. That is the next big weather story, is our first heat wave of 2025. Again, summer begins at 10:42 p.m. Friday night. And Laura's saying, now we wish for cooler weather. The kind of good part about this heat wave is that ridge of high pressure is a lid on the atmosphere. It's actually sinking air. And when that air sinks, it heats up. So we got the heat, we got the humidity, probably poor air quality, but at least we're going to dry out the ground. We'll have some dry time to get some things done outside, although it'll be oppressive to be working out in this. But I'm looking for some dry time. I don't think we've had 7 days in a row of dry weather this year, especially this spring and now heading into early summer. So drier weather pattern. On the flip side, definitely some extreme heat that we're going to be dealing with. We're at 10:41, and so we've looked all the way through the heat wave. We can take a look outside. A little bit more of a breeze out there today. That might help just a touch, but it's going to be rather humid out there. Low clouds and just some kind of dreary conditions as we look here at the corner of Market and Vincennes. I can bring up the live radar as well, as we'll see if, within the last half hour or so, we've seen anything else popping up here. I'll go ahead and bring that up full screen as we zoom in a little bit. There's not a whole lot going on, but maybe a few of these raindrops hitting the ground here between LaGrange and Simpsonville, just east of Louisville, if you can see that on your screen. And then as we look up to the north, looks like we've got one little guy here, one little shower. Southwestern Jennings County, just to the southwest of North Vernon. So that is just to the northeast of Crothersville. And this is giving me a little bit of a practice here for those storms maybe for tonight. So we can do a little bit of labeling of those roads. So that's West County Road 600 South, West County Road 500 South, West County Road, a lot of West County roads there, southwestern Jennings County, so southwest of North Vernon. So maybe you're familiar with those areas just off to the east of I-65. I'll go ahead and clear out. There we go. All right. Double right click clears them out. So there you go. Getting a little hands-on practice here with all of the technology here this morning. It is crazy the things these systems can do. Vicky Berger says, when I was young, this type of weather we had during the summers, I can remember the 3-digit temperatures. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Almost every summer we get some heat waves rolling through. This is kind of an early one. I mean, we're just at the beginning of summertime. Summer hasn't really begun. I'll try to use proper grammar. So the first week of summer heat wave, we've got July, we've got August, maybe even September for potential more heat waves. So Laura asking, will you be on live tonight if the storms get going? Yeah, that's the big question. So if those storms do get going, might have to pop in live from my mom's basement, where she's got the really good high-speed internet, where I have the Starlink internet, which is good high-speed internet if you're not connected to broadband or fiber. But the problem is, if we do get a big storm, the Starlink can interrupt, and occasionally it can interrupt anyway when it kind of changes satellites. So might have to hop down to mom's basement for some live stuff, like we did the last time we had a good threat of severe weather. Okay, let me bring up the forecast here. Again, not a lot going on now and through this afternoon. Late afternoon is when we need to have that bigger heads up for today. And so the EPA that gives out the UV index, the official UV index, has a 9 today. So they're expecting that sky to clear out. So yeah, I do expect some sunshine this afternoon, and that's going to really fuel that storm potential later on this afternoon. So if you're lucky enough to not be working, playing ball in some fashion, or maybe one of the kids has practice outdoors. We got mid to upper 80s today, just really, really humid out there. This is kind of interesting. Let me pop this up real quick. So it looks like we've got a new watch out to the west. Bear with me here. So that is Tornado Watch. That goes until 5 p.m. Eastern time. So that's out west of us. But that just popped in there, as you can see. I'm going to bring that up full screen. So Tornado Watch out west of us until 5 p.m. So obviously the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service offices out west of us are, they're saying max hail 2 inches. That would do some damage. Max wind gusts 70 miles per hour unless there's a tornado in there. So we're going to watch this develop out west of us this afternoon. And then we might see, you know, progression, the expansion of a tornado watch our direction into southern Indiana. And I would say southern Indiana has a higher threat of severe storms and tornado potential than Kentucky this evening. So there's the first signal that that severe weather threat has the potential for today. Lillian Lasley says everyone stay safe. So there you go. Brand new tornado watch just out to our west there. All right, so what was I doing? The forecast. We can get back to that. Move that, add that. So today's forecast, 88 degrees, super steamy out there. Late day, evening, severe storm possible. Southwest winds 10 to 15, a gust to 20 possible. 9:09 or sunset. After sunset, I would say the severe weather threat will hopefully be diminishing. Looks like they've already got a little warning out west, severe thunderstorm warning west of Springfield, Illinois. All right. Back to the forecast. Tomorrow's forecast, a lingering shower or two possible for our Thursday. 87, our normal high, possibly a few degrees below normal as that front moves through. 84, that high temperature for Thursday. Not totally out of the woods as far as rain chances, but no severe weather tomorrow. And then look at the dry pattern and the hot pattern on the way in the 7-day forecast. 88 Friday. It's not our first day of summer as summer begins Friday night at 10:42. Our first full day of summer Saturday, 91. Definitely looking like summertime this weekend. 93 on Sunday, and then we could see heat index values around 100 Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Lots of sunshine, evaporating a lot of moisture out of the ground. So we're just talking about some really high levels of heat and humidity on the way as we head into next week and getting towards the latter stages of June already. It is crazy. This month just seems to be flying by. All right, let me remove that. We're going to add this one back on. Again, tornado watch just popped on out to our west. I want to thank Sellersburg, the Ivy Tech Sellersburg campus for having us out live on location yesterday. If you have any questions or want to learn more about Ivy Tech and all the programs they have offered, we interviewed the chancellor and a couple of the executive directors out there, and you can learn a whole lot more, obviously, just by going to ivytech.edu and learning more there. But you can do the replay from yesterday's live show as we were out there in Sellersburg, and you can learn a lot more information there. Lions Roofing, I hope you guys don't end up with a lot more roofing needs out there after this evening's storms. There's a hail threat. There's a damaging wind threat. If you do have any issues with your roof, you can get free estimates online there at lionsroofingco.com, 812-294-3595. Also, they have a roofing repair technician job opening and job openings all over the place here at libspaving.com, largest paving contractor around. That is LIB as in Ben, S, paving.com. And you can see as we scroll here on their website, a bunch of available opportunities there for you, or maybe a family member that needs a job, some work, a new career. There you go. And then you can open up an account here at NWSB, New Washington State Bank, newwashbank.com. People you know wherever you go, banking the way you want. And I'm just going to pop up a little live view out there over the Ohio River. as, again, a mostly cloudy sky for most of us around the area. One more last look live here from the corner market in Vincennes as we start to wrap things up. A lot of times I will look for that last comment to wrap it up right here at 10:50. There's Lillian Lasley. That's a good one. Everyone stay safe, meaning that severe weather potential. Again, have that family plan ready to go. Severe weather kits might include first aid, some snacks. Have those cell phone chargers, cell phones charged, alerts on, all that good stuff. Thankfully, this is not going to be a nocturnal event, meaning we're not expecting severe weather into the late night hours. We should have most of the severe weather threat done by around sunset for most of us. Earliest looks like late afternoon, 5, 6 p.m. Anything changes on that, of course, just check out my Facebook page. I'll have updates for you throughout the day today. Thank you for liking, following, sharing any of our updates. It's meteorologist Ben Peine here on Facebook, where you can get all those updates there. Our live show, Monday through Friday, Ben at 10. Extol weather, that is EXTOL weather. And right there, Extol weather on Facebook. You can follow, like, share there. Same on YouTube, EXTOL. It's all these smart TVs have that YouTube app. You can bring it up and bring us up full screen if we're covering any of those warnings later on this evening, especially. And of course, our live show too. Thanks for liking or subscribing there on YouTube. One more thing is extolmag.com. I can bring that up right here as well. A lot of resources there. You can see me live right there. You can get us live there. A lot of ways to get us live. Interactive radar on your right side. 3-day forecast, 7-day forecast that I post every day. The weather story, if you want to dig into some more of the details on what's happening this evening, if you missed anything, you can click on the severe weather threat for Indiana. You can see the maps that I posted about that, about our severe weather potential for today. You can go on down. You can go to the severe weather outlook risk for today from the Storm Prediction Center. You can look at the tornado threat. This is a 5% tornado threat for our area for today from the Storm Prediction Center. That means if you put a point, like say over your house, and draw a circle that is 25 miles, has a radius of 25 miles around you, 5% chance of a tornado. So it's a low threat of a tornado, but there might be a couple warnings out there. 30% threat of wind, so it's a higher damaging wind threat, and we're like that 5 to 15% threat of hail. That is from the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma, a division of the National Weather Service. Their one big job to look across the United States, see where severe weather might happen. And you can get your interactive radar there as well, seeing a little tiny shower just to the east of Louisville there near Simpsonville, and then also just southwest of North Vernon. You're also going to find, any alerts and warnings that might be out there. So a lot of tools right at your fingertips right there. All right. I think that is going to wrap it all up for today. And we have a few last comments here from Bertha Turner. Good morning to you. Judy Tyndall, thanks for watching. Laura, good questions today. Thanks for tuning in. Karen Taylor, you're welcome. Thanks for watching here. And Perry Porter, good morning. I'm running late outside taking a sweat shower with soap. A little gross. A little gross there, Perry, but I understand the sweat shower. I just walked right down our front street yesterday and just sweat immediately. Yeah, you can get that sweat shower out there for today. We'll leave it with the gross comment from Perry to wrap up our show today. Thanks for joining us on Ben at 10. We'll see you tomorrow morning after the storms. Hopefully everyone stays safe. Try no damage. Hopefully we can do a storm dodge. Stay tuned to the updates throughout the day today. I'll have them right here on my page. All right, again, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.